Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Locks, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. Back in the studio. I feel like it's been an eternity since all three of us have been here.
The boys are back together right
Because
now.
you were gone the last week of December.
I was.
Then you were gone last week, but I had to do it from home, so I wasn't even with Konner.
Nope, he wasn't.
So it's been weeks.
It has been weeks.
We haven't all been together until this morning.
Thank goodness, man.
Feels good.
We're back.
I feel
really good.
I feel
Connor's
alive.
leaving us. Connor's not going to be here next week.
That's not true.
You're not going to be here Monday.
It's like one day.
Yeah, only one.
Oh, for Grip
yeah,
Lock.
For Grip Lock, yes, you're right.
Dang, dude.
Yep.
I'll tell you, man. When I'm
Everyone
gone,
jumps down my throat. I was right.
when I'm gone from the office, I feel that FOMO for a little bit, and then you get to like Sunday night after like a long vacation, you're like, oh, I got to get back into work. It's a little stressful. You're like, there's a lot of things that are going to be thrown at me and this and that. But then you get back in the office, man, and you're just like, yeah.
You're like, yeah, we
here
don't do anything, man.
Yeah, like this is fun. There's popcorn on the floor. Come on.
There is popcorn on the floor. There's a new set.
I walk in today and we got like Gateway discs just fresh, ready to look through. Like that's a good day.
You missed the day when we all got accidentally high by
what?
staining. We didn't actually get high, but I definitely had a bad
Explain
headache
yourself. Go ahead.
by staining the new desk over
It's
there.
really throwing me off seeing
It
this
wasn't
wall.
ventilated well in here at all.
We were staining that desk, and it's not. We didn't have the door open.
Between that and the different cutting and everything, the new set, if you're curious, bringing it into Disc Golf and Grip Locked. If you're curious, it's for the preview show. We don't have an official name for it yet. You'll understand why we've been spending so much time on it come Las Vegas Challenge. I don't think the disc golf world's ready.
We're gonna
for
have
what we got
three
in store.
podcast sets in one room.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's electric. We got a pretty packed show today. We're gonna start it off with the Patreon question of the week. Talk about Paul's new tour schedule. One of the Reddit questions that was all over the place.
Wait, one last thing. Did y'all try to finish painting over there and ran out?
So no, Silas started and realized it was a different color black.
Yeah, it's a different
Excellent.
color.
Okay.
We're gonna go into a little Trevor's trivia and then round it out with off-season player tracking, which obviously a lot's gone down
A lot's been going down.
since last week. So we'll start off, though, with the Patreon question of the week. This is actually a fun one because Patreon, every week we have an exclusive podcast called The Mailbag. And the Mailbag, basically, the Patreon gets to ask whatever questions they want. They'll also get a little peek behind the curtain into Foundation. And Robbie C, if you didn't see, last week announced he is officially a part of the Foundation family.
It's very exciting. This
if you
has
want to
been a
learn,
long time coming.
if you want to learn more about what that means, what it looks like, you can watch his video on his channel. But we had him on the Mailbag, so it was just me and Robbie last week.
Robbie's
answering all
already
the
taking my
questions.
spot. He's already taking my spot.
And so y'all actually haven't answered this question. But Patreon question of the week, if you want to join the Heiser Club, there's a lot of new stuff going on over there. You can check it out, patreon.com/Foundation Disc Golf. But Tyler asked, what disc summarizes you the best? And he said he's a Discraft Comet. To give you a little hint of the answer, I forget what Robbie...
Is there like a correct answer?
forget what Robbie said, but I had said I was a Mockingbird.
I heard you say that.
Because I basically said, like, if someone like doesn't give me much to work with, like they throw me really soft on Heiser, then I'm gonna just get out of there. But then if like someone hits me a little harder, I'll flip up, I'll reveal a little bit, I'll carry on a conversation, then I'll...
This is a deep question.
What does that mean?
But then, like, if someone really just like lays into a conversation with me, they're being super deep, open up a lot, then you'll get me to fully flip up.
I thought
turn,
we were talking-
and
What
come
does
back.
what
I
does
thought we
hit
were
you
some-
hard mean?
Yeah.
Like
Punch him.
if you sit down and like, hey, we're gonna have like a serious
I
conversation.
thought we were talking
then
about like
I'll
summarizing
engage
our
in a
disc
serious
golf
conversation.
game. I didn't realize it was like our actual personality.
That's what I did. People loved it. So that's what I was saying. I
frick.
wanted to give y'all a little example of what I said on the Mailbag.
I would say I'm like a tilt because I'm useless.
Dang,
Nice, dude. You know what?
No, dude. Let me give you a real answer.
Oh, you're not useless, man. I'd ace with you.
I'm okay. No, here's I'll say I'm like I'm like I would say I could represent a few different beginner discs. I would say like I'm like
Because you're easy to
I'm like
use.
an AVR because I just kind of get along with a lot of people. I feel like, and I'm not I'm not difficult to get along with or to and like have a conversation with.
Got it.
So I would say I'm an AVR.
I've got no idea.
Konner, I think, is like a
Connor's a little more like hip and underground, so I feel like you got to
you
go
gotta
something
go
like
gateway.
But Gateway.
that. I'm a
is,
very
like, too
generic
old.
person too, so that's why I give myself the AVR. I'm very like I fit into a lot of crowds because I'm just very generic.
Generic.
They call me
I have
generic.
no idea. I would say
Jen.
I'll just make it easy. If I could sit here and think for an hour, so I'll just say a wizard, because it's like not a lot of people think about the Wizard, and you know when it doesn't look like much, you're not very excited about it when you look at it. But then when you get to using it, you're like, man, this is. I have no idea.
I'm excited when I look at you.
Good job.
Okay, cool.
I
like
there
the-
you go.
I
There's
like the Wizard.
There's the Patreon question of the week.
What was
And
Robbie C's disc? Because he's like good at
I
stuff like
wish
that.
I could remember.
He gives like really good
He's
answers.
got it. He's got to be a polecat.
No, it was something like he.
No, dude, Robbie is like way more.
He,
probably
well,
put
he
out
has a
disc.
philosophy.
He's probably like,
degree.
I'm like the swan.
Did y'all
too.
realize that?
Yeah,
His degrees in
yes, dude.
philosophy.
Right. If you talk to the guy, you figure it out.
Well, like also if you think of him, he kind of looks like a philosopher, like a modern day Aristotle.
Dude, Robbie C
That
is
beard
my
he's got going
hero,
on?
like,
True.
my mentor.
He said a deep answer. I don't remember what it was.
I need people to comment and say what disc I am. I
Comment
have
what
no
disc
idea.
Connor is,
I have
and
no
comment
idea.
what disc you are. We want
And
to learn about our audience.
you and me, and how we tie together.
You and me going fishing in the dark.
Yeah.
So first actual disc golf thing for Grip Locked here. We got Paul
talked about
McBeth
discs.
announcing his tour schedule for 2023.
I'm glad you wrote this out because when I looked at it, I was like, there's something missing there. But
Yeah.
I can't put my finger on it. But
So,
you had to write it
let me
down
just
for
kind of like read it for you. So first off, he's starting at an event in Mexico, February 9th through the 12th. Interesting there. Then he's coming up to the All-Star weekend, but then the Pro Tour actual season, he is playing Vegas this year. He skipped it last year. He's going Vegas, Waco, the Open at Austin, Open at Tallahassee, Throw Down the Mountain, Champions Cup, Jonesboro, OTB Open. Then he's peacing out, and he's going overseas. So he's going to be playing the Pro Forester in Croatia, the Konopiste Open in the Czech Republic,
Yes.
the Krokel Open in Norway, the Swedish Open in Sweden, the Skellefteå Open also in Sweden, the PCS Open, which that's now he's back on the Pro Tour in Norway, then the European Open, and then he's back over here for Ledgestone. So what does that exactly mean? That means that he's
don't know.
missing the Portland Open, DDO, Des Moines, and Preserve. Those are the actual Pro Tour events. Portland being an Elite Series Plus event for the Pro Tour, meaning it's worth basically 150% or 125%.
That's wild, and that he's missing that. I don't know what he's playing at. I get it, right? Like obviously these pros are not obligated to play every event. They are able to strategize based on what they feel they need to play points wise. It's curious that I can understand the stretch of the tour he decided to miss, I guess. I get why he wants to not go back to DDO after what happened last year, especially.
Fair.
Although he did just win Worlds there, so it kind of goes both ways. But I don't know. I'd be curious to hear from him what his play is there. First of all, if I was the Pro Tour right now, I would be very salty because there goes your star player for 4 big events of the year. That stinks.
well, especially Portland being an Elite,
Plus. Yeah,
event.
that is curious that he's missing an Elite Plus to go play overseas because there's got to be an ulterior play here because there's no way, and it might just be, hey, I'm just going to go expand my brand overseas. But all those events that nobody's going to be at, he's going to get a bunch of free wins playing against, probably some decent players, but nobody at his caliber, I would imagine. And the end of that stretch, PCS and European Open are legit, but there's got to be an ulterior play there. I'd be because that's a lot. To be overseas that long, that's pretty demanding. So I'd be curious to hear why he is doing that. And because I don't think we've seen any other players announce anything like that.
Well, I mean, Scott Stokely's doing basically a full European tour next year,
never,
but
I don't
not
think he's ever even coming back to the U.S.
big time players. No, and it's very
so interesting.
Because obviously there's a lot to be said about building the European market. Paul's always been big about that.
those Euro Tour events?
Some are.
So here's my
But I don't think he's playing enough to make it. If he wins all of them, I still don't think he could win the Euro Tour.
okay, because I have two scenarios that
Let me
would,
open
if
the
I'm
Euro
Paul
Tour
McBeth, I guess there's 3 scenarios in my mind that I can picture right away. Number 1 scenario, I just want to build my brand in Europe, which I feel like that's cool, but I don't know how necessary that is. You're a world champion. Number 2 scenario would be I'm going to try and play enough Euro Tour events to win the Euro Tour because that would be sick if you won the Euro Tour. Number 3 scenario would be, am I getting paid by the Euro Tour, one of the 2 of them, to play those events, to grow them? Am I getting a show-up bonus?
It sounds to me, and
That wouldn't shock me.
this might be
Pull this
really
thing
stupid
up.
to say, but it sounds to me like it's a good way for him just to do some cool traveling. I feel like that could be a possibility.
Yeah, I know,
Well,
but
the
he can
tough part is,
travel
like,
anytime.
That's
though.
the thing
Like,
is you have
he's
all off
rich.
season to travel.
Yeah, that's true.
You can also strategically, if you just want to go travel, you can strategically travel to spend a month there. And it's not just like spending a month, but Portland, DDO, Des Moines, and Preserve. Those are all big Pro Tour events. To where like Portland, obviously, we talked as Elite Plus event, which is new this year. But DDO, Des Moines, and Preserve, those are stacked fields. Like you're missing a lot of Pro Tour points. You're basically, in my opinion, missing these four. You're sacrificing the Pro Tour title. Like if you win the Pro Tour title, missing these four, it would be incredible.
It's going to take dominance to win the. Maybe
realistically looking at it, you're kind of throwing it out the window. Now,
I mean, Paul. We know about Paul. For certain, I've heard this from him that like he really only cares about the majors.
Yeah.
Like if Paul's goal each year in and out is like I'm gonna try and win the European Open and Worlds and the other two majors he cares about too. But like he focuses very hard on the majors because he realizes that because of who he is, he doesn't need to sprinkle in wins here and there. If he wins, literally, if all he does is win Worlds, he's kind of made his mark for the year. I'm just wondering so that makes sense. Like, okay, he's taking a break on the tour, but why go tour in Europe if there's got like...
I'm saying, in my opinion, first off,
events?
there's 12, and I think he's playing 6 of them. So if he wins 6, he could win the Euro Tour.
That's what I'm thinking is maybe he's literally... What's the bonus for winning the Euro Tour?
Can't be. I mean,
I doubt he cares about that. But it wouldn't surprise me if Paul was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I played 6 events, won them all, or if almost all of them, and won the Euro Tour? Because that would be pretty sick to add Euro Tour winner to your trophy cabinet. I mean, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. To me, the thing that makes the most sense to me is the brand building in Europe.
It'll certainly be big
because,
for
like,
his European brand.
Yes, he has, like, he's a world champion, all of that, like, yes, but someone taking the time and showing up to all of these Euro Tour events, there's not really going to, like, European players, if I'm a European disc golf fan and Paul's the guy that's coming over here and playing these events, I'm a fan of his now. Yeah, like, without fail, because now
be big for the growth. And this is the PDGA Euro Tour that he's playing, not the other one. Hot seat. Other Euro Tour.
What is the other Euro Tour?
When Konner and I did that episode and we looked at both of them, we actually liked the other one, I think, a little bit more.
What is the other Euro Tour? I forget.
I think it was just called European Disc Golf Tour. If you just Google European Disc Golf Tour,
I accidentally blocked Paul on Instagram. Can you imagine? I accidentally I'm trying to look at his tour schedule. I block Paul and just create a social media
waves.
So let me make sure I'm counting right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he's playing 6 Euro Tour events. The PDGA Euro Tour. So if he wins all 6, the PCS Open will obviously have a much more full field because that's a Pro Tour event too.
Yeah.
So considering Paul could go 5 for 6 here, possibly 6 for 6.
European Pro Tour is the other one.
He definitely could win the Euro Tour. The 7 best results count. And it includes the European Open, so he's playing 7. Okay, so his goal has to be to win the Euro Tour.
This is the other one, the European Pro Tour. And let me see what their events are. They have a tour pass.
I can't remember why, but we did decide that was the one.
I think we just liked their event names and marketing and stuff better.
Yeah.
These ones go all over the place. They have the Yarva Open and the Nokia Open and the Estonian Open.
I think there's also some kind of conspiracy we just jumped on board with too.
Definitely. My thing, I guess, like if you're Paul, you are what, 31?
Yeah.
31,
somewhere in there.
Yeah. So you're getting towards the back half of the prime of your career, and he's won it all in disc golf. He'll
be 33 this year.
Okay, so he's got his contract for his retirement contract. He's won it all. You got to start thinking, like, what do I want to accomplish in disc golf? What would be fun to do? And I guess it's easy for us to be like, what is he doing? But it's like, what does he care? Like, he'll still play all the majors, and then he can go win a European Tour event. That's cool.
A look into Paul's mind, he's not. I mean, in my opinion, he's making it near impossible on himself to win the Pro Tour points wise.
Yeah,
but he's not making it actually impossible on himself. So he could be thinking...
And he'll still finish top 5,
He could be thinking, I could be the first ever player to win the Pro Tour and the Euro Tour in the same season.
Pretty sick.
Because only 7 Euro Tour events count, and that includes the European Open, and he's playing 7 of them. So that's definitely his play, is to win the Euro Tour.
In fairness, like, playing on the European Tour will probably be very fun.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it will. So...
Man, I wonder
what do you think, though? Is this... Do you like the decision or not? overall, now
fan-
that we kind of dove deep into what it actually
As
is?
a
what do you
fan
think?
of the Pro Tour, because like that is ultimately the biggest stage for disc golf for us as a consumer, obviously I don't like it because I hate that I like it was like last year when Eagle was hurt or when Dickerson was missing big stretches, and we'll talk about that eventually, I'm sure, because he's missing more this year. Although he's doing better this
I
year.
don't even know if I looked at his. I'll pull it up. He's going to Europe this year, though.
He is. But like anytime you have situations like that, obviously as the viewer, like we want to see the full field of disc golfers. And when it's just like player's choice, and it kind of bums me out. And like I'll be like, darn, like I don't get to watch Paul because I really enjoy watching Paul. So as a fan, yes. But when I put myself in Paul's shoes, yeah, like that sounds great. Like, yeah, I'm. What do I need to prove here? I'm going to go play some European events and have a little European trip and maybe win the Euro Tour, like fun little trophy to add to your cabinet. Yeah, it makes sense. So like, I think it's cool for him. But yeah, as a fan and as somebody who likes watching Paul, it's a little bit of a bummer.
Dude, I just pulled up.
Isn't that funny that he covers up the whole West
Well,
Coast?
I
with his
just
face?
pulled up Dickerson's tour schedule, and obviously he's not going west. And AJ Risley commented and said, "Was this tour schedule drafted before the Louisiana Purchase?"
Well, no, it's funny because on his graphic, he's literally his face
Is on the West Coast.
covering up the whole West Coast.
If I'm the Pro Tour, obviously the Pro Tour can't do anything more than they did. But I'm a little salty or a little upset. Like, they went to the effort to make Portland Open this Elite Plus event, and you have Chris Dickerson and Paul McBeth both not playing it.
Portland's a pretty cool event too.
Two of the top players are like, yeah, we see there's more points, but like, screw that. Who
we don't
cares?
care.
I think what's important is the current Pro Tour Championship structure. It doesn't make points that important. Like,
For the top guys.
like if you're Dickerson or Paul, you're
you-
thinking like, I
you
still
know
have a
you're gonna-
solid shot at the top four anyways.
Yeah, you know you're gonna get
And
a
what's the
win.
difference between fourth, third, second, or first? And like, I'll definitely be in the top 10. So I'm definitely
Right.
going to be in like the second to last round.
Right.
So like Pro
Well,
Tour
yeah.
Championship wise.
That's just strength of field for the top guys is still not that desperate.
Yeah. So like I think that until that structure changes to where it matters if you're first, second, or third, then like
they've
you
earned
can
that
you can
right.
throw more points at people, and also if you're Dickerson or Paul, you can throw more money at them. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, they both have very lucrative contracts.
The money,
The money and the points aren't really gonna like
the purses
doesn't
though.
really
The
matter.
purses, like we've said it before, but like they're the one thing lagging behind in the sport right now. To some degree, they're getting better, and like yeah, if you win a tournament, you're gonna get a nice chunk of change usually. But that is another thing where it's like, if all of a sudden the winner's taking home $30,000, even $20,000, it's a little harder to be like, yeah, I'm just going to skip out on it, knowing that that could be your chance to take home a $20,000 payday. So I think once the purses get there, you're going to see a lot less of that. And obviously you'll have the top players getting even richer, hopefully on that same pace. But there becomes a dollar amount that like is a little hard to ignore when it's like, ooh, that's a new car, or that's like my gas fund for a trip or whatever. Like it does get it's a little easier to be like, oh, winner takes home $8,000 and I'm making six figures. Let me like take this as a rest week. But it gets harder when you're ignoring more money. So I think that'll be a big part of things.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely interesting. Paul's decision, I mean, selfishly as a fan, I hate it because like we're not going to see him for that stretch, but strategically, like
It's cool. I mean,
it also,
it'd be a
I don't
huge
think this
legacy
is his,
move.
I don't think this is his play by any means, but when it comes to the end of the year, it does give Paul fans some firepower of like, well, yeah, like he still should be player of the year. Like, of course, like he went during the stretch that Ricky won DDO in Portland, Paul won
wasn't
4
there.
Euro Tour events. Like Paul wasn't there, so those wins don't count.
yeah, that's gonna
Yeah.
make those arguments
That's obviously
so
not.
confusing.
That's obviously not Paul's
Let's
intention
decide-
with it, but like
Let's decide the ratio right now. How many Euro Tour wins to one Pro Tour
3.
win? 3. I would say like 2.6
minus the PCS. Because
Okay.
PCS is a Pro Tour.
I would say 2.6 Euro Tour events equals 1.
So Paul's got 5.
Tour event.
Paul has 5 Euro Tour events in comparison before
he-
PCS.
I would
So
say
if he sweeps all 5, we'll
sweeps-
give him 2 Pro Tour wins.
I'd give him like
That's
almost
2.5.
2. I give him like almost 2.
If he has 2, if
Well-
it's tied, If it's tied, the tiebreaker goes to whoever has the Pro Tour wins.
Okay.
But if that gets Paul over the edge, then we'll give Paul Player of the Year.
Okay.
We
So
do
he's
have to
got
keep these. We have to keep
I think
this
it's
in-
very
I like
important
that. I like
he
that. Makes sense.
because I feel like. But here's the thing, though. I feel like if he
tiebreaker
takes,
goes to the Pro Tour.
if he only takes like 3 out of 5, I don't even know if I give him 1. win for that.
No.
I think he has to get 5.
If he doesn't win out in the Euro Tour, I think it hurts. I think it's a bad legacy move.
Yeah.
Because then it's like the dude couldn't even win in Europe.
Couldn't even do it on a rainy day.
I mean, just think about that. Like maybe it's definitely just the American in me where I haven't seen the European field.
That's what I was gonna say.
But like if Paul pulls up, like
we see them at the European Open.
who's
though.
his main threats? You think?
I don't know the answer
Dude,
to that. Because,
Jakub Semerod, bro.
Here's my thing.
He's dirty.
If they're dirty enough, they're on the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
I think there's still. I agree to some extent, but I think there is still a little bit of gap with the money situation.
Euro Tour.
I think
what do you consider it if Paul put it into a tier over here? Is it like Paul playing an A tier? Like is it Paul losing Wintertime Open?
I would say like those Euro Tour events are going to be similar because they're going to have home country advantage as well. I would say it's like going to be winning like a strong A tier. Like an A tier that he should win. Like what was the one he just played?
We'll treat
the one he just played
Euro
in
Tour,
Florida.
We'll treat the Euro Tour as a silver series.
Yeah, it's like the one he just played in Florida. Where like there are some guys there, and like there's probably going to be. I'll tell you what it will be a great opportunity for is it's going to be a really good opportunity for the Euro Tour guys to put themselves on the map because anybody who like outduels Paul is going to immediately get status.
What if someone like beats
them.
Paul 4 out of 5 times?
That'd be
Just
sick.
crushes them, dude. Jakub Semerod, bro.
We need to make sure everybody knows
the
we're
Czech guy from the young kid. He was at a few. I think he was at Pro Tours.
We need to make sure everybody knows that we're not saying that there aren't
dirty.
good European players. We're saying that most of the time, if they're really good European players, they're going to be playing.
Yeah,
the
I'm
Pro
saying
Tour.
if the European player, like Kristen Tatar, European player, best FPO player in the world, came to the Pro Tour and showed it.
Yep.
If you're just dominating Europe, I immediately think, well, you're not good enough to win on the Pro Tour.
Do they have rankings?
Because you're not winning on the Pro Tour.
The last thing
that's
they had,
like Luka Doncic, the best player in the NBA currently, in my opinion, one of the best.
He's darn good.
If he was still dominating in Europe, he would be the exact same skill level. But I'd be like, yeah, but he couldn't do it in the NBA.
Let me give you some names.
He did, but I'm just saying.
Let me give you some names to remember because in November in Spain, which is dirty, that's so sick. They just had the European Pro Tour All-Stars event. And first place, shooting 24 under, was Jakub Semerod.
Yeah.
The boy I was telling you about, he's dirty. Then we have Mikael Rossinen in second. Okay, remember the name. And then Nilo Hangisto, something like that, from Finland. There's a lot of Finns and a few...
Does Timo Niskanen still play?
Dude, I don't know, but that's a great name. I don't see him on this All-Stars list.
I just saw him throwing the CD1 on his Instagram. It looks sick. He made that thing look real good.
I hope that like this exposure they're going to get from this whole situation gets more European players to. This will be good for them because I think what happens too on the European tour is they probably play over there and they're comfortable in their own country, like playing on their tour and maybe making a little living. And it's hard for them to know when they're good enough, maybe. And I think when Paul's thrown into the mix, it'll give them a lot of good perspective, and maybe we'll see more players gain the confidence to try it out in the States.
With our Pro Tour biased perspective.
Because if I beat Paul, I'm coming over. I'm like, I'm taking the U.S. on.
With our Pro Tour bias perspective, this is the last question on this topic. We'll move on. With our Pro Tour bias perspective, because obviously we have a heavy U.S. bias on this show.
I apologize to our European listeners right now because they are mad at us.
I just want to. With our U.S. bias, honest answer, what do you think Paul's, what are you expecting Paul's average win stroke differential to be?
I would say average.
Let's assume they're all 3-round tournaments.
I would say average like 4 strokes.
I'm saying 6 to 8.
4.
Yeah, I was going to say a little higher than 4.
I think 2 strokes around on the field, I'm giving that to
I say this just because, and it is tough because what he did.
I would love to be proven wrong, and we're obviously going to be watching the Euro Tour now.
Mm-hmm.
It's Paul's doing a lot for the Euro Tour with this move because
that's what I'm saying.
It's a big thing.
I wonder if he's getting a show up bonus.
Maybe.
I wonder if he's getting a show face bonus
because now we have to talk about the Euro Tour in general because that's going to be a big storyline. So it's giving media coverage that honestly wouldn't have been there previously.
It's in everybody's best interest because also Discraft will get more popularity in Europe.
But I'm just saying, going into it, I am saying I'm expecting Paul to win by 6 to 8 stroke average. So if it's less than that, I will be impressed with the European.
Are you saying that? Are you saying 6 to 8 strokes over just his victories?
No, like if you take
every
Paul's
result he
5
has.
rounds, so the 5 tournaments minus the PCS, because PCS will be an actual pro tour event. These 5 tournaments, you add them all average.
You're gonna say
I'm saying he's beating the field on average across it. So total across
That's
5
hefty.
events, he's beating close to 40 strokes on the field.
that's hefty.
That's what I'm expecting. If he gets over there and it doesn't, I'll be very impressed with the European talent.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
It will be very interesting. I think it's the more we talk about it, the
I'm
more I
getting
like
more
this decision
excited,
because I'm
yeah.
excited for it now.
Getting
It is fun.
excited.
We're gonna have the European
As
watch
long as there's
every week.
coverage.
There should be coverage. Yeah, there's been coverage, but I don't know exactly.
I'm sure they'll get you'd be
how it'll
crazy
work.
not to be filming Paul out there to get the views.
Yeah. So this question was on Reddit, actually picked up a lot of steam and was also on our mailbag. But this was how it was posed on Reddit. On mailbag, it was asked a little bit better, in my opinion. But this person said, so let me get this straight. The 2024 Worlds bid was awarded to Nate Heinold, PDGA Director, Ledgestone Relationship Manager, and Paul McBeth Foundation Chair by the PDGA, where he will sell Ledgestone branded items on a Paul McBeth course. On mailbag, it was worded basically like Heinold's the director of the PDGA. Like, is this not a conflict of interest? Eyeball test.
Yeah.
100%. Like,
course.
this does not pass the eyeball test. I think you got to peel the layer back a little bit.
The biggest thing is if once you know how many bids there were, becomes a lot more clear.
Well, I think you got to peel the thing back a little bit and ask, why is the PDGA not getting bids from like everything in the country?
Yeah.
And also, if
They
you're
had
the
almost
PDGA,
nothing to pick from.
if you're the PDGA, you would also have a desire to give it to someone who's run majors regularly, runs a big tournament regularly, and you know is going to do a good job. So I see where it doesn't pass the eye test by any means, but with the requirements from the PDGA, which we'll go over them in a second, I honestly don't think there's many communities on the table in general.
I mean,
and when you have a proven TD who runs big tournaments every year, why wouldn't you want him running it?
I can say this because I saw it posted somewhere, so it is public info. There are only 2 other bids for Worlds.
I believe so.
And one of them was overseas. So it's not like this Lynchburg Worlds with Heinold was cherry picked by any means. Yeah, of course, like you said, it doesn't pass the eye test. But when you look at the other bids, overseas Worlds, cool idea. You're not going to get a huge field. So they were never going to go with that, I don't think. Or maybe they were, but I just didn't expect it. And then I forget what the other bid was, to be specific. But like I said, it wasn't like there was 150. PDGA Worlds notoriously gets very little bids.
And they're getting smaller and smaller.
Yes,
Like if you
it's
go
getting
back to
smaller.
like 2015 Worlds, I think there was like 6 or 7 bids. But listen to some of these requirements. So this is the venue requirements. There's a whole, you can find this on the PDGA site,
Yeah.
the bid specifics. There's a whole list of like what the hosts, like requirements, their responsibilities, what all the host has to take on. Daunting task, extremely overwhelming. I think people reading the host tasks alone would probably scare most of the bids off. But then the venue requirements, the main competition venues, plural, must have at a minimum 18-hole championship caliber disc golf course reserved by the LOC. I don't remember what LOC stands for, but basically for Worlds, reserved. Minimum parking on site or off site for 1,000+ cars. That right there, if you think of your local courses, throws most of them out the window.
Those 2 things you've just listed already. The list is getting smaller.
Restroom buildings and porta potties throughout the course. Covered pavilions
even
or
smaller.
building reserved for tournament headquarters. 50,000 square feet of green space for spectator and vendor village. 50,000 square feet.
So now even less.
That's huge. So
Wow.
I would
availability.
imagine if you have somewhere that can park 1,000 cars, you probably have the 50,000 square feet, but maybe not. And then minimum cellular data requirements. And then we go down to a hotel. One local hotel should be designated the host hotel that needs to have enough rooms to comfortably accommodate most athletes, officials, and staff. And additional accommodation for spectators should be identified and promoted. I forget up top, higher up on this, it was saying how many people that is estimated to be. But I want to say it was like 100 some rooms.
Dude, I'm just getting chills thinking about that. It's going to be so sick.
Additional meeting venues, 500 square foot minimum room with high-speed internet access for the PDGA event office, rented out 6 days, Monday through Saturday. Registration, welcome, and check-in area of 1,000 square foot minimum room for 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Player meeting, seating for 400 to 500 people with podium, PA system, visual aid equipment, a vendor marketplace, fly mart, exhibit area for 50 10x10 booths, power at the final location, and the awards and closing ceremonies immediately following the finals at the final location. Field event requirements: public park, athletic facility, or other area with suitable parking and amenities for 300 competitors, including a mix of athletic fields, green spaces with trees, rolling terrain, open areas. The PDGA will provide those procedures. All field events must be at the same venue, which is the long drive, so the open area approximately 250 feet wide and 800 feet long. Putting, diverse terrain, mostly open, approximately half to 1 acre. Edge, skill shot, diverse terrain, mostly open, approximately 3 to 5 acres. So that's just like the venue requirement. That doesn't even go into like what all the host is supposed to do.
Yeah.
If you start thinking through, because I was doing it, like if Ivy Hills here hadn't opened up, there is no other, we couldn't have Worlds.
Yeah.
Like there is no other space. Like New London, yeah, you can park in Hole 5's field. Like there's plenty of parking and stuff there. But like if New London didn't have that, like if New London was just New London, boom, couldn't have Worlds.
The infrastructure is very intimidating. And there, like, I mean, if I think about some of the best courses I've played in the country, infrastructure wise, and then you think, oh, but there's got to be another venue with similar requirements met. I mean, I don't even know if I can think of one. Like, it is very demanding list. And yeah, that's
because this doesn't even go into like, that doesn't even include what the host responsibilities are when it comes to like the finance, the registration, setting up the volunteer.
It's a big undertaking. It's never going to be, you're not going to see a lot of bids until it becomes something where like cities are bidding on it. Until like tourism departments are like, we will put resources behind this to get behind.
Which I think is somewhat what happened in Lynchburg.
I think so.
But I mean, I don't think it's unrealistic that like 3 years from now, there are no Worlds bids. Like it wouldn't surprise me if like one of these years they open it up and it's like, we don't have a choice. We have one bid.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because like it's a tough situation. I don't know the full answer to it. But in my personal opinion, I think what should happen is Worlds has some places that they are very successful at, right?
Yeah.
I think they should pick one on the West Coast, one in the Midwest, one on the East Coast, and then maybe in the future, one overseas. I don't think we're there yet.
Or even like 2 at each location.
Or maybe 2, sure. But they should pick them, right? Maybe go 1 West, 2 across the Midwest, and then 1 in the East. And rotate. And the PDGA is the ones responsible. They work with the local communities somewhat, but the PDGA is the one that takes on all of the, because now you have them set. So like when Charlotte isn't putting on USDGC, like you don't have to rely on the Charlotte Disc Golf Club to get USDGC ready. Innova owns that major. The PDGA at IDGC doesn't have to require on the local scene there to get that ready. The PDGA owns and operates IDGC. The PDGA should own and operate Worlds, in my opinion, to where it's like Worlds is coming. The local communities can help and like can be volunteers and stuff, but they're volunteering to the PDGA. And like maybe it's Robert Leonard or Nate Heinold. There's a Worlds TD, and that is what they do every year. As a PDGA member, personally, I wouldn't be upset if like there was a major TD and that was his full-time job and he made a salary. And his full-time job was he was the TD at all 4 majors.
It's worthwhile.
And so basically every quarter he's got to worry about 1 major, spends 3 months, working towards it. If you're that good, like Nate Heinold, honestly, he'll put in a ton of time and energy, but like if you told him you have to run a major 3 months from now, he's done it so many times that he could get it. He'd do it. Same with like Robert Leonard, I think, is another very qualified guy that could do something similar. That, in my opinion, is where the PDGA should head towards, is like they have a Worlds committee and like the local community is just the volunteers that come in to help out.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what's happening here is like Heinold's coming down to Lynchburg and the local community is going to like help him. I like that model. Yeah. But I can see where from the outside looking in, it doesn't pass the eye test. But once you like peel 1 layer back and do like 2 seconds of research, you're like, okay, but like what were the other options?
And the thing is like the whole like Ledgestone thing, McBeth branded course. First of all, New London is not McBeth branded really. His logo is on the T sign posts, but and people know that he designed it. But it's not like he's like you pull into a giant banner.
It's not like
the
Paul McBeth Park,
right? So it's nothing too crazy. And then like the Ledgestone connection. Like here's the thing about Nate Heinold. Like he is going to have a lucrative event. And it's the same with Ledgestone, but guess why? It's because he runs good events. Yeah. So it's not like he's just like chucking his name in there, and like he puts in a lot of hours. You know, the guy runs good events, so he's earned that right. And the PDGA knew that he was the guy to turn to. So yeah, it is what it is. And here's the thing, like, because the infrastructure for this event is going to be solid with the courses, and because Heinold's in charge of it, like, you know, it's just going to be a good event. And that's what the PDGA just has to put on good world championships, because it's a very big event for the growth of the sport. It's one that gets eyeballs. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, there's definitely, it's funny to think about.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. It doesn't pass the eye test. I can understand where people would like look at it and be like, "What the heck?" But
I'm like, I feel like I know most of the facts, and I don't see, like, if I thought that this was being cherry picked out of like so many bids, I'd be like, that's not a.
That's
good
what I'm
look.
saying. It's like, if
it's
you
just
don't,
not the case.
If you don't know any of the context and you just look at it,
I would be the
can
same
definitely
way.
see where like I would think the same, like that.
And I mean, people will probably still call us out because, you know, it's in our backyard, so we obviously have bias.
I would say the same thing. I would say this exact same thing if this Worlds was in, you know, Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Michael Scott was running it.
That's what he said.
I would say the same thing, man. No, like
oh my god,
same exact thing, man.
No, it's just if you look at it for a few seconds, you see that. I think it's the best.
Why could
best
I
case
see
scenario.
That being an episode of The Office, where like he puts in a bid for Worlds, not really knowing what the undertaking is?
That'd be funny. All right, before we get into Trevor's trivia, I want to take a moment to tell you about a little new feature on the site.
Ooh.
We wanted to create a way for you to shop discs online without having to worry if you're going to like the disc or not. And we came up with this thing called Foundation Care. So when you add Foundation Care to your purchase, you get a 30-day time period to try out the disc and use it as much as you want, with the comfort of knowing that you can exchange it for a disc that you know you love if it ends up not making the bag. Our goal is to provide a stress-free purchasing experience for you that allows you to get your hands on some new plastic that you wouldn't have tried otherwise, and who knows, you might find the disc of your dreams. So head to foundationdisc.com, pick up a new disc, add Foundation Care to your cart, and try it out risk-free.
Let me tell you,
Hunter, tell them why it's called Foundation Care.
Because Foundation cares.
Amen, brother.
Let me tell you, a lot of the best discs in my bag never saw coming. The Honey from Clash Discs, never saw that disc coming.
I just put a Falk in my bag.
What did you just say?
From Castoplast.
I almost put that disc in my bag like last week. So
it's incredible. It's incredible. It's like a little bit more stable Mockingbird from Lone Star, which is another disc I would have never tried.
It basically just gives all of you guys the same like advantage that we have, where we get to just see discs and just try them out because we have such good access to them, and we have weird stuff in our bag. You can do the same thing now because you have access to weird discs because you don't have to commit to them.
It's a good point.
Say, that's
Are you scared of commitment? Foundation Care.
That's where the idea was kind of born from. Is like that's how all of us at Foundation kind of treat discs. So we're like, well, if I hate it, like we'll either give it away or put it in the used section. Like we have a bunch of ways to like try discs and like cycle through them.
Exactly.
But I was like, but the average everyday person, like they'd have to pay for that disc. Whereas like I just walk in the warehouse, I'm like, this Falk feels sick. I'm gonna go throw it. And then I go throw it and I'm like, this disc is sick. I'm gonna put it in my bag.
Yep.
I don't know if I would do that if I had to pay like $20 for it.
So if you want really weird bags like us, there you go.
There you go.
It's a great way to branch out.
You just head to foundationdisc.com and it pops up when you go to checkout, and it's super simple to add to your cart. And hopefully provides a stress-free, risk-free experience for you. But it's time for the fan favorite segment. Bow, 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 bow. Trevor's Trivia. Trivia with Trevor.
Okay.
You know, others try. Trevor does it better.
Travis
does
I've
it better.
got
Dang!
I think I'm gonna do two different questions today.
No.
Two? Can we work together since the band's back together?
I think we're going to kind of go against each other. Yeah, first one, I have like a short question. This is something we're going to talk about in the latter half of the show. But Simon Lizotte, very much in the news, just recently departed from Discmania.
Yep.
What year did he sign with Discmania?
2013.
Oh.
No, 2012. It was 2012.
Well, I'm pretty sure Hunter's right, but I'm just going to say 2008 because that's the first number that came to my head.
It's 2012.
Yeah, because they all did they basically put the man in an obituary where they like had him like they basically you easily could have went to Discmania's Instagram and thought Simon died. It was like a journey of a lifetime, 2012 to 2022.
So actual Trevor's Trivia, that was just a little fun one. Kind of set up the rest of the show. Actual Trevor's Trivia. So Virginia, it's actually perfect because we were just talking about it.
Okay.
Virginia is about to host Worlds. Obviously, it's coming to Vermont this year. right? So Vermont has had worlds
Greg
before.
Barsby, back to back.
I'll give you one hint.
Across the pond.
Vermont has had worlds before. Virginia will be the first time that it has ever been hosted in Virginia, in the entire state. So
Sweet.
what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth
Oh gosh.
between Konner and Hunter, and they're going to name other states that have only had one worlds before.
Oh gosh.
And here's the fun twist.
No way to know.
The only way, sure there is. The only way to get called out is if the other person calls you on it. Says bull.
Okay.
So you can just
Bull honky.
throw out a state. And if you make the call and you're wrong on the call, that's it. Game over.
So you're not even going to tell us if this place has hosted a Worlds before.
I will.
Are we just playing straight bull? Like
It's up to you. You're
like
gonna
if Konner-
obviously,
So, like-
obviously you're gonna want to guess correctly because then you're safe.
Sure. But if I
it-
can convince Konner I'm right and I'm wrong, I still am fine.
That's correct.
So
Okay.
has
So you're
only
allowed.
hosted-
You're allowed to be like, yeah, Ken Clement won that year. It was like really famous. Like you're allowed to sell it.
I got it.
But it only one. It's
Yeah.
only hosted
If, like
one
I'll give
time.
I'll give you one more example.
Don't. You're going to steal them from
Okay,
us.
well, no.
I've only got-
Vermont was an example. Like Vermont, it counts because it's happening this year. And
Oh, so
it
Vermont
happened-
would have counted.
And no, it would not have counted
Okay,
because
okay,
it's happening
okay.
this year. So Vermont has, and it also
Oh, you
happened
want me to
in
go
2018.
first?
You go first, Konner. Bull! Sorry, wait.
Let me think really
Don't
quick.
go out on the first turn.
Come on, go on the first.
Dude,
turn.
Trevor,
Do it.
I'm so sorry. I ruined all these games for you because this
Say
is just
Kansas.
not.
Say
This isn't
Kansas.
my. This isn't my forte of disc golf knowledge. That usually just comes. I only know about discs, really. Maybe a little bit about players, kind of.
You can do this.
I'm gonna go Massachusetts.
Bull. We never had Worlds.
I told you I was gonna ruin this game for you.
Where would they have had Worlds?
I don't know.
They've never had worlds in
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Because like MVP didn't have the structure.
Let's
There
just
wouldn't
play
be
a
two
game
courses.
where Hunter goes back in time and
Okay.
says all the worlds where all
Let's
the worlds
just
were
let's just say let's just see how long Hunter can go then on the
Yes.
same point.
I'm very sorry, Trevor.
You're dead to
I'm
me.
not good with that kind of knowledge.
Okay. Well, are you gonna like?
I'll actually tell you now. We'll see how far you can go. Well, no. You can just try and convince Connor.
I just want to convince Konner.
That's fine.
Konner,
This is
you
not
call-
going to be a fun game.
You just call bull on me when you think I'm
Okay.
bulling.
Yeah.
You're
Oregon,
bulling.
2014. Paul beat Rick.
Is it that the only time it was hosted there though?
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that.
Name another time.
I'll let you keep going.
Okay, Iowa.
I'll tell you after you've decided.
2013.
That was correct. Oregon has
Okay.
only been once.
Iowa.
I'll give you Iowa. Was that correct?
I couldn't remember if it was Iowa or Idaho, so I just
What
went with-
year did you say?
it was like 2013. When did Paul win in 2013? Quad Cities.
He did not win in Iowa, but Iowa has had worlds
Get legit.
one time. If you would, no,
One time.
wrong. You're wrong.
It doesn't
You're
matter.
wrong. You lose.
No, I don't.
All right, go ahead.
Because Konner didn't call
It was
me.
twice.
Go ahead, next
It's been in Iowa twice.
Wow. In Boise?
Oh, okay.
Was it Quad Cities? Quad Cities is Idaho.
The first one was a long time ago.
Is Quad
It was
Cities
89.
Idaho?
What?
Quad Cities. Is that Idaho?
No. You're thinking Indiana. Crown Point.
Is that where Paul won in 2013?
Yes.
Indiana's only had it once.
No, they've had it.
Bro!
Oh, I forgot we were.
Okay, well, that doesn't count. Then we're throwing that out the window. Utah.
Did you know that? Did they only? Did
Dude, I don't know anything.
okay.
Utah.
Bull crap on Utah.
You think they've had it more than once?
Yes.
You think they let it at the fort twice?
Dang, dude.
Dang, now it's just turning into bullying.
I know. It's just not my forte.
I
man.
honestly think they only had it once in Utah.
I honestly
I think it was
just
their
want
first
to
time.
end my
Yeah.
suffering.
Utah is only once.
Utah was only once. Okay.
Sick. All right, I
Um,
lose.
Charlotte's had it more than once.
I'm just curious to see if you can name another one because now it kind of gets difficult.
Ohio.
Incorrect.
You're calling bull on it?
Yeah.
Got him. It's been in Ohio 3 times.
Wow.
Dang, gotcha.
I didn't even know it had been in Ohio.
And I have
It was all a
yet
long time
again,
ago.
thank you for joining us for Trevor Trivia yet again, where I have bested Hunter.
That is true.
We'll see you next time.
Got him.
Except for the fact that you said Massachusetts.
No,
and I
I
immediately
bested
called
you. I bested you.
All right,
Dang,
off-season
dude.
player
He really
tracking.
cared about that one. He had to bring that back up.
Well, I wanted I mean, it'd been so long of me just saying states. I wanted everyone to remember that Konner messed up.
Okay.
Active contract tracker. That's what's on my screen. I was wondering. I was like, what the heck's on my screen here? All right. I want to just figured we just had the biggest announcement of the offseason. Simon Lizotte is officially leaving Discmania. Everyone kind of saw it coming.
I would say
because people don't know how to keep their mouth shut.
This offseason is officially like a high quality offseason.
But this is a wild offseason. So I pulled up
looking for.
Ultiworld's offseason active contract tracker. So these are all the people who have signed deals, extensions, or new deals this offseason.
Look at all those 1 year deals, man.
This is wild stuff here. So we're starting with...
So Calvin's the only one that signed long.
Nico LaCastro technically signed this offseason, but it's locked in at 2022. So his contract apparently started. I don't know if that's true or not, but Lone Star Disc, Nico LaCastro. We got Thomas Gilbert moving to Thoughtspace Athletic. We now have 3 extensions. Andrew Presnell, Andrew Fish, and Vanessa Van Dyken extending with Discraft.
Bro, Discraft are savages throwing out those 1 year extensions. So many people only extend 1 year.
Emerson Keith, new deal with Lone Star Disc, 1 year. Macy Vela-Diaz extends with Dynamic. Alden Harris extends with Prodigy. Chris Clemens extends with Dynamic. Now we have some new Lone Star people, AJ and Deanne Carey, as well as Chandler Kramer extending with Lone Star. Calvin Heimberg, this was an early story, I think, that kind of got jumped. 5-year extension with Innova. That's a big contract there. Calvin Heimberg, 5-year extension with Innova was signed this offseason. Stacey Haas signed a 2-year extension with MVP. Matt Bell, 2-year extension with Thoughtspace. Stacey Ronsley leaves Innova for Castaplast, 1-year deal.
Wow.
Emily Beach, extension with Innova. Jona Heinonen, 2-year deal new to Innova. Don't know where he came from.
Oh, I think I saw him on the Pro Tour All-Star.
Let me see if they... I don't see where they were at previously. But new to Innova. And then this is the Innova extension list here. We'll just kind of run down it. Owen Scoggins, 2-year deal. That was a big key for Innova. Joel Freeman.
Double G 3 years?
Let me read the list, man.
Dang.
Joel Freeman, 2-year extension. Jen Allen, 2-year. Evelina Salonen and Hannah Blomroos both signed 3-year extensions. Big keeps there. Haley King signed a 1-year extension. Double G, 3-year extension. Kat Mersch, 2-year extension. Philo, Nate Queen, Jessica Weiss, Bradley Williams, and Holly Finley all signed 1-year extensions. So that's the Innova extension
They do
list.
a big roster. Like,
They do.
People dump on them for getting rid of players, but like they have a lot of players, and like they handed out some bags. Like I bet Double G got paid a little. Like that's pretty decent. 3 years.
Maria Oliva signed a new deal with Thoughtspace Athletics.
Dude, Thoughtspace is throwing out the cash.
Clash Disc was able to keep Evan Smith and Eric Oakley. 1-year extensions for both of them. Obviously, Eric Oakley's also with Infinite, throwing a mixed bag there. Clash Disc also picked up James Proctor, Scott Withers, and Erica Stinchcomb.
Dang.
Then we got Lone Star picking up Robert Burridge and Lisa Fakis. James Proctor also signed a deal with Thoughtspace Athletics, so he's also doing the mixed bag
Dude,
thing.
they are Thoughtspace Athletics, man. They are throwing out some cheddar.
James Proctor also just ran the Disney Marathon. Fun fact for you.
Hey, man.
Good for him.
Katrina Allen, 1-year extension with DGA.
She got extended.
Whoever told us that
She was
she had a
supposedly
multi-year deal.
Well, it doesn't mean she couldn't have been extended. I'm pretty sure she said herself that it was a multi-year deal, or they said I
don't know.
I remember the verbiage multi-year deal being used.
5 days ago, she posted that she'll be representing DGA and Squatch again this season.
But she
knows
still
what that
could have been
means.
extended. But
Mason Ford, 2-year deal with Mint Discs.
Well, just click on her announcement.
I just did. I just read it to you.
Oh, and it didn't. Oh, they just linked to her Instagram post.
Yeah.
Dang.
Mason Ford, 2-year new deal with Mint Discs, and Gavin Babcock, 1-year deal moved to Discmania.
So they look at her Instagram post just saying she's representing them again, and just they must have only had her down for a 1-year deal before.
They did. That's where I got my information from.
Interesting. So somebody needs to get their story straight.
But yeah, so that's all the movements that have been locked in that have happened. On the table still is Anthony Barella. He obviously announced he's leaving Innova. Hasn't announced where he's going yet. We also have on the table Simon Lizotte. He has announced that he's leaving Discmania, has not announced where he's going yet.
It's a big fish.
Let's first answer this question.
I'm going to answer it.
Is Discmania okay? Simon leaves Discmania. As they sit now, there's rumors swirling, partially because I tweeted, because Gannon Burr was teasing a Double G Jerky announcement, but he said like new sponsor announcement, and then I was like, what if Gannon's the next Crush Boy? That obviously started a rumor.
Yeah.
But if they don't pick up anyone, AB was also another person that was rumored possibly going to Discmania. I don't think that rumor's true anymore. So as of right now, though, Discmania is not picking up anyone. Mm-hmm. If they just lose Simon, they keep Eagle, keep Kyle Klein, is Discmania okay?
if you were thinking about it from a roster perspective, you would think, yeah, they're all right. Like they probably would like some more depth. And with Simon off the books, there's a lot of cap room there.
We don't know what Simon's getting paid.
Have to imagine it's pretty decent. It was at least like there's at least enough cap room to get some depth. Like so, if you're just looking like roster wise, and they've got the big dogs in Kyle and especially Eagle. But the problem is Simon is like a one of two in the sense of him and Paul being like the disc movers. Like Simon Lizotte is a disc moving machine because of his YouTube following. So he is a bit of a golden goose in disc golf. And so that from that sense, it is going to hurt. It is going to hurt because like think about it this way, like more so than him just being successful in the course, you have a guy who has over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah,
making videos with your discs like all the time. Like that is like crazy marketing that they're not even paying him to do. They are, but they aren't like directly paying him to do that. So yeah, it's a pretty significant loss. I believe in Discmania's product line. I think they have a really good product line. They still have some good players, and the offseason isn't over yet. They still have time to make some moves, splash a little bit. I think they need to do something noteworthy. I'd like to see them try and get one of the two fish, AB is the only fish, I guess, that they can get out on the table, or try to steal somebody away.
Gannon Burr will be on the table next season officially. Yeah, so this offseason, if he moved, it would be we did just see Simon move.
Discmania, like no matter what, is going to hurt. It's like I'm sure that this did not happen without them trying their best to keep him because. It's going to suck.
Well, I think, he had mentioned, in his video, he essentially mentioned he got an offer. He didn't say who it was from. You can safely assume it's MVP. He got an offer that he basically was like, I couldn't refuse. And he did mention like Discmania tried to keep him. So I would assume they possibly matched the offer or at least got an offer close to matching. But the like allure of something new, a fresh start was exciting to him, and he kind of already made the decision.
Yeah.
I think that Discmania right now, as they sit, are okay. They're going to hurt drastically because I think the biggest thing, similar to what happened with Innova, is you're going to have a lot of Discmania loyals now opening their bag.
Yeah.
To wherever Simon ends.
Simon just has crazy pull.
So like that will hurt Discmania, but if they keep Eagle, they keep Kyle, they're okay. I think what it actually hurts Discmania is right now they're probably in scramble mode. They probably want to sign someone. If they pick up a AB, or if next year when Gannon's up, they pick up a Gannon or whoever else ends up being up. I think James Conrad's deal's up. I think his deal's up actually this year. I don't think they just swap them, but like they don't want to overextend their marketing budget to someone new.
Right.
Because when Eagle's up, Eagle's watching his buddy get paid now.
Yeah.
Eagle's going to have to get paid. If Discmania loses Eagle and Simon, they're not okay.
Yeah. Discmania has this weird issue because they are basically, they have like the presence of a very large company, but I don't think they have the capital of a large company because when they got essentially dumped by Innova and had to part ways with them because they were kind of being handcuffed, they had to basically start over in a big way. And I think that probably cost a lot of time and resource. And I think it put them they're on a good track right now. They're coming out with really good discs. They have a cool product line. But I think they have some of the overhead and player contract weighing on them of a very big established company because that's what they are from a marketing sense. So I think that if they were like in the shoes of a Clash Discs right now, you'd be like, Discmania, they're on the up and up. But right now they're just kind of hanging in the balance because I think they have a lot of overhead and expectations too. So yeah, I would say they're okay, but I think that something is going to need to happen, and they're going to have to make some really smart decisions in the next year or so on what they need to do to kind of get themselves back on track. Because, Simon Lizotte and Discmania were very synonymous, and like you said with Eagle, man, you'd have to think they're not going to lose him too.
What are you expecting? I'm expecting Simon's new deal numbers to be released. Are you expecting? To me, the floor is Paul and Ricky deal, $1 million a year.
You think that's the floor?
I think that's the floor.
I don't think that's the floor because I don't think he was getting paid anywhere near that before. I think if I had to guess, I would say before he might have been making 6 figures or just into 6 figures from them per year, maybe. But I would say the floor for his new deal would be more like $500K a year.
In my opinion, I was about to ask, what do you expect his new deal to be? Is that what your guess is?
I would
like $500K a year?
Here's what I'll say. I would expect the deal to be anywhere from, I would say it's going to be from 3 to 5 years, and it's going to have at its lowest, it's going to be $2 million. So I guess the floor is a little higher than $500K. I would say 3 to 5 years, and total value is going to be $2 million at that 3 year, if it was only 3 years, and then upwards.
Here's my thing. This deal, whatever it is, made Simon, when Simon made the video and he was explaining, it was obvious that like this deal kind of rocked him when he got it and he couldn't get it off his head. I think this is the biggest guaranteed money deal we've seen in disc golf, is my opinion. I think it's in the world of 1.2 mil a year, is what my opinion is. I think we're going to see 5 years, and I think that 5 years is going to be worth, what would that be? 6 mil or more?
Yeah, it'd be worth $6 million. I
think it's 5 years, 6+ mil a year. Not a year. That would be insane. 5 years, 6+ mil guaranteed total.
I was going to say,
that's my opinion.
I feel a 5-year contract. 5 year made sense to me as well.
Yeah, so that's where my head's at. I think this is going to be I think it's going to be public. B, I think it's going to be the most lucrative guaranteed money deal disc golf scene. Because I think, in my opinion, you can't sign him to less than the Ricky or Paul deal. I think if you do, it's kind of a weak move. Like if it comes out and it's like 5 years, 3 mil, I think
how is that a weak deal? He doesn't have any world titles.
World titles, I don't think mean near as much in disc golf anymore. I think Simon moves more than Rick.
I agree, but that's usually not how disc golf contracts have been working themselves out. Sometimes they do, but there are so many players.
I'm just saying,
they're getting paid based on just their talent.
Here's what I'll say: if it's less than Paul and Rick, it won't be public. I would be shocked.
I would strong disagree with that.
If I'm a company and I sign Simon to
what if it was
5 years, 3 mil, I'm like, that's kind of. Like I wouldn't.
That's
personally,
a
I wouldn't
huge deal. It's the third largest deal in disc golf history, and you're like, it's not important.
Not that it's not important. I wouldn't risk the backlash of not signing him to Paul and Ricky.
Why would anybody backlash that?
I would. I would say he got underpaid. Simon moving from Discmania to, we're assuming, MVP is worth $1 million a year. 100%.
I mean, apparently, I don't. My thing is like, I don't think he was getting paid anywhere near that at Discmania. So, like, for a deal to floor him, I don't think it would need to be that.
But he knows what
crazy.
Paul and Ricky are getting paid.
It's true, but Simon isn't the type of guy that thinks that way, though. He's not. That's
what I'm saying. It had to be enough money to make someone like Simon care enough to leave Discmania.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it had to be significant. But like I said, a lot of money would be like if he was making $100K a year at Discmania. If he jumps up to $600K, that is 6 times the amount of money he was making.
Sure, but he also has 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah,
like the dude.
So he might make another $100K.
It's safe to assume the dude doesn't need.
But I'm just saying, to jump up to even like under $1 million a year, but still like 6, 7, 800,000 a year is a crazy jump in his salary.
Sure.
So like that,
I don't think it'd be. I wouldn't make it public.
Who knows? Like who knows what he's making?
I'm just saying if I was the company that signed him,
if you were signing him to 5 years, $3 million total,
I would not make it public.
No.
I would make everyone question, because if everyone questions, then the numbers are getting thrown around, and I'm not guaranteeing anything.
But if everybody's questioning it, if you don't make it public, everybody knows that it is that you're not proud of the deal.
Not necessarily, because prior to Paul, no deal was public.
Yeah, but I feel like in this era, every company's looking for the chance to
That's
flaunt.
what I'm saying.
And 5 years, $3 million. That would be. But
it's not the hit flaunt. 5 years, $6 million. That's like a.
I don't know how you're saying that when there's only been 2 other deals ever.
Because there's already been 2.
Yeah, but only 2, and the 2 greatest players the sport has ever seen ever. So a deal that would be so a deal that'd be just behind the Ricky deal.
It wouldn't hit. It wouldn't hit as hard. You know that's true.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't hit as hard, but it would hit very hard.
Like if I'm MVP, which I'm assuming it's MVP, and I'm trying to shock the world with this announcement, I am not signing Simon to less than $1 million a year. No shot.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going 1.1, 1.2, somewhere in there a year, to where when this thing hits,
that sounds great if you just have unlimited money, but like it's not like
every company,
of course they want to do that, but I'm trying to frame this from a realistic sense of like disc golf finance here. I'm not thinking like if they had all the money, what would they give Simon? I'm thinking like what Simon could probably get.
I don't think that any company has the money that they're promising to Simon.
That might be true. I
think that they think Simon's bringing the money in.
Yeah, and it's a risk. I would agree with that.
Because I don't think he's going to Discraft. I mean, he's going to MVP. That's the only thing that's been rumored, and everything else has been true up to this point. I think the next segment we shoot, in case it gets announced, the Grip Lock Safe segment, is we let everyone know that we're shooting this in case it gets announced, and we just react as if he went to MVP. I think that's the next thing we do. But I'm assuming he's going to MVP, and to me, I think MVP is looking at it. They know what James Conrad did for their company. They know that they have the quality to match anyone out there. Yeah. And they're like, we just need to get our disc into people's hands. And they know Simon's the person that'll do that. I think they're like,
I mean,
they might not have, or they might. Who the heck knows? These companies grew so much during COVID, and MVP moves easily on our site. They might have $7 million in the bank. I'm assuming they don't have $7 million in the bank. But if I'm sitting there and I'm MVP, I'm like, we're just going to risk it. We're going to risk it. We're going to offer Simon this, and we're going to assume that he brings it in.
We'll see.
I just think, to me, I think
he's going to bring it in.
I agree.
He's going to bring it in.
But I think that's like, I don't see this deal hitting as hard as it could if the finances are announced and it's less than the Ricky or Paul deal. I just don't think.
I mean, that statement is objectively true. My whole point was it would hit hard. Not
Simon, but
of course it wouldn't hit as hard.
I guess here's my perspective on it: is Simon leaving Discmania is already the big hit.
Yeah.
So then why announce the finance if it's less than Ricky
definitely, or Paul?
If you have Simon,
if they would have timed it all at once, it certainly would have been.
You have the Simon leave, and then he signed a deal bigger than Ricky or Paul. That pushes the sport. That has the same impact as the Paul deal. Paul leaving Innova to Discraft, and then the 10-year, $10 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's the question of yeah, of course it would. Yeah. But I'm just trying to think of like what I think he would actually get.
We'll wait and see. All right, so now let's react as if Simon has announced he is going to MVP. Just to Grip Lock safe it.
But, just in case.
Just in case he announces it.
Well, because the Grip Lock curse is a real thing. In case he announces it today. Today's the day the Doombird 4s are dropping.
And then let's announce it like in case he signs with Gateway.
Okay, that works too. Does anyone want to do any other companies?
Yikun.
Okay. I feel like Gateway and Yikun. Let's just pick a middle of the road.
You're right.
Yikun, bro.
Yikun or Gateway? Which one?
Gateway, definitely.
Okay, Gateway. And then we'll go Open Bag. He goes Thoughtspace.
Whammo.
Okay.
No, just Wham, like the musical group.
All right, so let's start with MVP. We're future-proofing the podcast.
Coldplay.
Viva La Vida. I can't believe Ashton Kutcher signed him to that. It was crazy. We're future-proofing the podcast.
Yeah, I love this.
So right now, obviously, as of
if this hasn't been announced or he went to a different company, you can just skip this segment. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, or if you want to just hear, okay.
No, you can just skip it.
My phone just vibrated. Simon Lizotte has announced insert link the deal.
10 years, 60 million.
60. No, let's
it
make
had
it
to be that.
realistic.
It wouldn't punch if it
We'll
wouldn't.
bleep it out. You say it.
5-year, $7.5 million deal with 10 million in Bitcoin to MVP.
Whoa!
React.
I think that's great for MVP.
Yeah, I think this is a big
really
move for
big
MVP.
For them.
So obviously James Conrad was big for their brand. It did a lot.
Move aside, James.
But that is actually an interesting point to actually talk through. Now that Simon's with MVP in this world, where's James Conrad fit in the MVP hierarchy?
Well, first of all, I think we can thank. I think James Conrad being with MVP for a while made it to where it was even more realistic for Simon to go there because he saw a big thrower throwing MVP discs probably. And saw that it was possible, saw that you could win a world title on him. So I think that is cool.
I think MVP doesn't have the marketing budget to even consider a Simon deal without James Conrad.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it's tough to know. Like, I would assume with James Conrad's line of discs that James is an MVPer for life.
Yeah.
Because he has the Terra, he has the Zenith, he has the Nomad, and like those are molds he helped design. I'd be interested to know the contract dynamic. I'd also be interested to know if MVP is offering that to Simon. Like, is Simon going to be designing
I would say
MVP line of discs?
Simon is 1,000% going to have his own line.
Now,
he's got to.
I would agree. With Conrad, we saw they like limited the amount of streamline in his bag because they wanted to push gyro.
Tilt, man.
Do we think that's going to be a similar thing? Like, do you think? Well, he can just throw the flare. I think basically is a gyro tilt.
Basically.
Do we think that it's going to be a similar thing where like he has to throw
the flare is streamline?
Same company.
You said gyro though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we think that he has to throw gyro, or do you think that like do you think he's going to have a similar restriction where he can't throw much streamline?
Yeah, I would say so.
I think so. I think that makes the most sense for MVP because like you're trying to push like what sets you apart.
Yeah.
And if you just push your streamline, like your plastic's good, but like doesn't hit as hard.
And let's be honest, if you're a player getting sponsored by MVP, like go for it. Go gyro.
Yeah.
Be a gyro.
Simon throwing envies. Will he need any other disc in his bag? He'll be able to reach every hole on tour.
Yeah, exactly. That's dangerous.
How far do you think he's throwing an envy?
Far, 500.
Easy.
Yeah.
I mean, an envy goes so far.
It
does.
so far.
All right, I think that was a good MVP reaction.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Gateway.
Let's pivot to Gateway. Gateway has just announced they've signed Simon Lizotte.
They gave him the business. That's the only way they're going to be able to do it.
Simon
It is now Simon Way. You're St. Louis? No, it's St. Simon. Gateway discs.
They
so
gave
Simon,
him the city of St. Louis.
They've given him the keys to St. Louis. No, so with this deal, Simon now owns Gateway. What are some changes you're expecting to see to the manufacturing process with Gateway now that Simon is
German engineering is just going to take the forefront.
Yeah.
Here's what I think is actually going on behind the scenes. I think that Gateway is now going to be made.
Where does this put DMAC in the situation? Is that what we called him?
Who?
Dave McCormick. I think DMAC. I think
that's what he retired
on Instagram.
Yeah, he retired.
Good for him.
Yeah, this was his retirement plan.
I'm glad he found his way out.
I think first thing that happens in this case, is it okay if I say?
Yeah.
First thing that happens is that now Simon owns Gateway. Now people know what Gateway is. And now Gateway finally gets sued for having all the different logos they've been printing on discs, and Simon goes bankrupt.
No, so I think here's what I think happens is Simon owns Gateway now, and now indirectly through Discmania, but not through Discmania because like no one wants to know this, but it's now Gateway's made by Latitude. Latitude's parent company.
Oh.
So Gateway is now moving overseas.
There's fusion shamans, bro.
There's another. Well, no, it's not even called. It's still gonna be called Diamond. Okay, still sea line.
That's true. They
still
do
Diamond.
that.
Diamond Ice.
There was
Diamond
there
Ice.
happened to be another warehouse also across the street from Latitude
Frosted diamonds.
that Gateway can move into next to Discmania, but none of them are tied together.
Yeah,
Don't
none
worry.
of them are tied
They're not
together.
affiliated.
Not affiliated.
Guys,
This is
come
best
on.
mining for plastic.
They are just getting their machines from Discmania, who's getting their machines from Latitude.
It's a hand-me-down situation.
Yes,
Yeah.
strictly business. So now Gateway's being manufactured in Sweden, and was not Sweden. Is it Sweden? Where's Latitude at?
Sweden.
Yeah, it's
Sweden.
It's Sweden.
Sweden.
Castoplast and Latitude were always made in the same place.
That's
Who
something
knew?
to think about.
For some reason, whenever Castplast came, we were like, "Oh, weird Swedish discs." But I never even thought
that's
about
what
the
I'm
fact
saying.
that
Latitude was in Sweden.
There's
The whole
I
something
think
time.
going on here.
Casaplast just really leaned into it.
yeah.
They also have a warehouse.
The Jarn.
Well, Castoplast, it's public. They're owned by Latitude. Latitude's parent company. That's how we
Manufactured
figured out
now.
their
Are they
parent
bought
company.
out, or
I
they
think
just
bought 'em out.
manufactured by?
Doesn't matter.
It was not originally.
Simon has now moved Gateway over there, the Simon way. And yeah, he's going to be throwing Warlocks. He's always said it was his favorite disc. That
That's
move
true.
just made perfect sense.
It all came down to the
It
Warlock.
also makes
According to
sense.
Simon, best putter in the world.
Also makes
Where
sense.
did we hear that from?
Simon said it.
I wonder if
In a
they
vlog.
liquidated like everything.
Also
they
makes
owned in
sense
that
why
building.
Nico is now with Lone Star.
Why?
Yes.
Because Simon owns Gateway now.
Ah.
So like it's no
Yes.
longer family owned and operated.
Right.
Nico's like,
Gotcha,
okay,
gotcha.
I can go try some new stuff.
He knew the deal.
Warlocks, Wizards.
I'm getting
out of the
like
bag.
caught up in this alternate universe right now. I'm getting excited.
I love it.
about
I
it.
want
All right.
Simon. to
Simon
own
owns Gateway. All right, pivot one more time. We're going to Whammo or Thoughtspace. I think we go Thoughtspace open bag
All right.
because they've picked up a lot of people.
Dude, Thoughtspace.
Thoughtspace Athletics
venture
just
capitalists
announced
of
that
age.
they have signed Simon Lizotte to a 5-year, $55 million. You're supposed to be bleeping me. Deal. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to leak
that's
that.
so loud. I hurt
Dang
myself.
it.
$11 million a year. That's the crazy thing.
I love mistimed sensors. It's like my favorite thing.
So Simon can go open bag now. The big question here: what percentage of his bag stays Discmania?
It's all of it, except for he puts Warlocks in.
He's gonna have Discmania.
That actually would be an interesting question.
Warlocks. Thoughtspace does require him to carry a Proxies. What is their Praxis?
Praxis.
He does have to have a
Well,
Praxis.
no, Pathfinder is like their big one, right?
And a Pathfinder
Nissan.
in his bag. He also has to drive a Pathfinder on tour.
That is part of the deal.
That is part of the
New
deal.
one's cool, man.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel's driving.
Congrats, Thoughtspace, I guess. Captain Simon of the team.
Let's do a scenario where he signed with us.
All right. Simon has signed
6 year,
$30
deal.
$30 a year, 6 year, 180 deal.
Yeah,
You
just
decide the 180.
70 high fives a year.
A 6 year, 180 deal.
Just slightly bigger than Robbie C's deal.
And now Simon's open bag.
No, he's not, dude. We're making him throw Gateway too.
We are rebranding to Simon Way.
Imagine how funny it would be if we started signing players and we made them spin a wheel for what disc they have to throw.
Funny enough, back to the real world.
Like the money's
universe,
good, but you're not gonna like it.
back to the real world universe. Robbie C has sacrificed himself to the putter bracket.
Yeah, I guess I gotta work that
Officially?
out.
Officially, it's going up.
I mean,
on
I don't know if he's
Polecats.
doing it.
He's putting with Polecats.
I don't
He
think
told
he's gonna
me-
do like a. Is he gonna do like a completely
He
open?
said
Yeah.
our audience has full control because he
He's
said he's
like
not playing
literally-
Robbie.
he said he's not playing a sanctioned event this year. So whatever.
I guess
But
it doesn't matter for
this is
him
what
as
he
much
said.
because a lot of his stuff is tutorial
This
based.
is what he said though. I was asking him and he said, because it was on the Instagram live, and I was like, well, our audience, like they're
gonna sabotage
comedic.
you.
They're gonna give you like polecats. He said, to be completely honest with you, Hunter, like I putt with a polecat as my Circle 2 putter of choice anyways.
They won't put. Then they won't tell you to put the.
He
polecat.
said it would be a worse result for me if I got the P2 than the polecat. And I was like, I don't know if this man is putting on a show.
Well,
or
if
if
you
it's
say that
serious.
though, you're gonna end up with stegos or tilts.
He did say. He said
I think it has to be a
approved
putter. That's to be a PDGA approved putter.
Okay.
That's the only stipulation.
Or it could be a pig.
That's true.
don't know
Honestly,
how
the
we're
pig will
gonna-
probably win.
I don't know how we're gonna determine the bracket.
We'll
Like
figure it
what
out.
disc go into the bracket,
We'll
but
figure it out.
check
We'll-
out our Instagram.
We'll
if you
do
wanna
like a
vote on.
suggestion thing, and we'll actually pick the ones with the most votes.
Well, check out our Instagram if you want to vote on what's Robbie C's throwing.
That's scary.
And hopefully now we've covered all our bases with Simon's move.
Yeah, I think that's all our
Yeah,
bases.
I think
Wherever,
Surely nothing else would happen.
no, wherever he goes, got to be one
Red
of those
Bull?
three. No,
Dude.
that's out there.
That'd be. I'm surprised they haven't dipped their toes in disc golf.
It's not
because
a-
they get into niche stuff.
But it's not like high.
It's not like an extreme sport.
Like, I
they're,
feel
they're
like-
an extreme
Yeah,
sport.
I
that's
feel like they
true.
would be looking at it and be like, well, why would someone drink an energy drink before playing disc golf?
Yeah.
When
That
like
is
realistically
true.
everyone does.
Yeah.
Why do we?
What? People
Energy,
do a lot
for
worse
energy.
than just drink energy drinks for disc golf.
Valid.
Yeah, but that's
Anyways.
to do the opposite.
Real talk. When Simon actually announces, we'll probably do like a emergency Twitter space or something.
Yeah.
We'll do something to actually react.
Because
to
I'm
the
sure
Simon
it
deal.
will be. I mean, Simon's a friend of the show, so maybe he won't subject us to the.
Maybe he'll break the
grip
grip
lock
lock
curse. Maybe he'll like be a good guy and literally break it like Monday morning at 6 a.m.
No, ideally it would be Sunday night.
I don't know if that'd be ideally.
Sunday
'Cause
night at like
ideally
11
it'd be Monday morning because nobody would know until they saw our show title.
He needs to text
It'd be
us.
incredible.
He needs to text us
tell
and
us that-
say,
yeah.
I'm dropping this information at 4:50
Should I text him right
PM.
now and just ask him?
No.
See if I can get him to tell me.
Say, I'm dropping this information at 4:50 p.m. Eastern
Hunter,
time.
what are you getting off your chair for?
'Cause I don't know, it feels
Hunter's
good.
on a knee right now.
4:50 p.m. Eastern time. And that way, 10 minutes after the announcement, grip lock comes out and we already knew.
I'm further off my chair than you right now. Whoa!
Dang, dude.
Just peeked everybody's
We got
headphones.
the boys are back in town. We have a triple
All right.
triple the length episode.
We got a lot of work to do.
No, it's not. It's been like
We'll
an
talk to you
hour
all
and
next
20.
week. Adios, amigos.